Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, 'tis the season for Christmas wishes.
What I want for Christmas is my dad to die.
You said if he had a heart attack, you would not call 911.
Feel the love.
My brother started screaming at me.
You got drunk on Christmas Eve and broke his nose?
On a special holiday episode.
Did you call the cops on him because he cooked up your pork chop? Because I got to tell you, Santa, it looks like you've got a few pork chops. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
In 5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Year, right? Time for Santa to find out who's been naughty and who's been nice. But my first guest believes it's Santa who belongs on the naughty list this year. Take a look.
My dad has dressed up like Santa all my life.
Merry Christmas.
For 1 month out of the year when my dad's Santa Claus, he's the nicest guy.
Has everybody made up their mind what they like for Christmas?
For all the other 11 months, my dad is a complete...
I have not called the cops on him since I had the court order put on him.
What I want for Christmas is my dad to go meet God. Like, go die.
Jonathan is very disrespectful, ungrateful, and he feels the world owes him a living.
My dad is a crazy, money-hungry baby. I've always paid you back.
No, you have not.
Untrustworthy, very mean, very nasty.
I feel John has committed elder abuse against me.
My dad has called the cops 32 times. Probably about 20 of those times have been because of me for eating his food. One time when I ate too much ham, he completely lost it on me. He started throwing things, slamming the refrigerator door.
John would have his parties, and his friends, they'd get drinking, and he feeds them all. He wasn't buying food at the time, and it was food we needed to survive on.
My father, at one point, called the cops on me because I cooked up one of his pork chops.
I was tired of John arguing with me, his disrespectfulness, and taking stuff we didn't have. And I finally had to have him evicted.
My father always calls the cops on me, but always takes me back into the house. My relationship with my father is completely dysfunctional.
Everybody been good this year?
Well, Santa, a.k.a. Jim, says his son John is, well, he just says he's an entitled freeloader.
My son Jonathan is a mooch.
I'm 32 years old and I've lived with my father for almost my whole life.
He lives with me with his 9-year-old daughter. I pay for everything.
Currently, I'm not employed, so I do a lot of babysitting.
When John gets paid, it's usually gone the next day. I never see any of it.
I contribute more than enough by being there to make sure that he's alive, that he eats, that he drinks, that he has dinner, that he has lunch, all that stuff.
You don't worry about any expenses.
Never had to worry about him.
This past summer, John's vehicle stopped working. I had a car, and I told John he could have it for $2,000, but I needed $500 down, and he could make monthly payments. Then last month, he turns around and sells the car. You have not paid me 1 cent since you turned around and sold the car for $2,500.
No, I sold it for $3,000.
You spent half the money at the casino.
Right. I didn't pay my dad because I didn't think he needed any. It's $100 a month that you wanted for that car.
That's right, it's $100
$100 a month's not going to kill you. I have very good luck with scratch-off tickets. If I hit big on a scratch-off, I'll give you the money. If I hit big down at the casino, I'll pay you off.
That's no way to handle bills.
The things that I have to offer are more than money can buy.
Are you guys for serious?
Yeah.
You say he is a bipolar, money-hungry baby.
Correct.
He's lazy.
He is lazy.
He's retired.
But when you got animals and stuff you have to take care of on a daily basis, you cannot sit in a computer chair 24/7. Doesn't matter if you're...
You say he's an embarrassment to you.
He is.
He's a backstabbing ass.
Correct.
You say he's jealous of the beautiful women that you bring around and wants your lifestyle.
He has mentioned that to me, yes.
Well, I bet he does. I mean, you're living rent-free and having somebody pay all of your bills, provide you housing and all of that, right?
Correct.
I bet you do want that lifestyle.
Oh, yes, it would be nice.
He says that you are untrustworthy, miserable, and mean, and he prays to God to take this miserable ass to heaven.
That's what I said.
You said that if he dies, you will call the coroner a few days later.
Oh, maybe I said days.
You said you would just dance on his grave. That if he had a heart attack, you would step over his body and leave. You would not call 911.
That's what I said.
I believe it.
You're 32.
Correct. I have moved out on my own. I want to get that straight. I have moved out on my own several times, and he does the call where he says, you know, Dad's lonely, my medication, this, and I move, you know, I end up moving back in with him.
Do you call him and ask him to come back?
No.
Are you mean?
No.
Are you miserable?
I'm a lot better when he's not there.
Why is he there?
Because I have a heart. He has a daughter. His daughter needs a home.
Because he's lonely and can't survive without me.
Well, I just have to put that to the test. I mean, he says you're lonely and can't. Are you incompetent?
No.
Did you call the cops on him because he cooked up your pork chop? Because I got to tell you, Santa, it looks like you've got a few pork chops.
Yeah, I do have.
It looks like you've had enough pork chops.
I have. He calls it the pork chop incident, but it was a matter of him having friends there all the time, eating up the food, and I had finally got fed up when he started eating again, and he happened to be cooking pork chops, so he calls it the pork chop incident.
I was cooking it up, and knock, 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 and there's the cops at the door. Told me to pack my stuff. I had to
drop that pork chop and put your hands against the wall.
Right. So I had to go outside, and I just told the cops, I said, how funny do you guys think this is that a 300, 450-pound man calls the cops because his son's eating a pork chop? It's my exact words to him.
Last year, I only called the cops on him probably about 5 times.
Oh, just 5 times. What?
But I'll take that back. It wasn't last year. It was the year before. And then the last time...
What are you calling the cops on him for?
He had an alcohol problem. And
okay.
He would get very nasty when he drinks.
When I was drinking, I was always the entertaining type.
Were you entertaining your brother when you got drunk on Christmas Eve and broke his nose?
Yeah, I was entertaining him. There was more to the story. Right.
Oh, my God. My Twitter followers, they're just blowing up my Twitter page right now. If you want to join the conversation, send me a tweet with the hashtag Dr. Phil, hashtag like father, like son. Is it time for Jonathan to move out and live on his own? Hashtag move out or hashtag stay with dad. We'll talk about all of that. Let's take a break. John's brother's here. We'll hear why he says he doesn't plan to spend another Christmas with either one of these two again. We'll be right back.
I stopped speaking to my brother Jonathan after he broke my nose on Christmas.
I grabbed my brother around the neck when I'm punching him, like this. I grab his head and I slam it like this into the heater.
I did file a police report a couple days later.
If my dad had a heart attack in front of me, I would probably wait a day to call 911. First thing that I would do is I would grab everything that was worth value and I would put it into a storage unit or hide it somewhere, because I know my brother and sister, they would be like vultures and swoop down and grab everything. I've busted my ass for 32 years. I've been arrested. I had blood, sweat, and tears to make sure that my dad has made it 61 years. And I would take everything. If it's a heart attack and he's laying on the floor, that's his own problem. I'm just doing what I have to do to get out of there.
Well, that was John talking about his own father. Now, good news, Jim has another son named Jimmy who loves him. But Jimmy says he has no plans of spending Christmas with either one of them especially if it's anything like last year?
My brother Jimmy and I don't get along at all.
I stopped speaking to my brother Jonathan after he broke my nose on Christmas.
My dad and I were arguing, and my brother thought he had to put his 2 cents in, and I knocked those 2 cents right out of him. Dad and I were yelling at each other. My brother walked down the hallway, started screaming and yelling at me.
He came at me, and I put my hand up to his chest and put him up against the wall. He started swinging his arms and ended up punching me in the face and breaking my nose.
I grabbed my brother around the neck like this, dragged him out into the hallway. I'm punching him like this, and he's bleeding pretty good. I mean, his nose is already busted open, and so I grab his head and I slam it like this into the heater, to our furnace, to the metal part of the furnace, and I slam his head into there 5 or 6 times.
I did file a police report a couple days later.
My brother is exactly like my father. He always loves to start fights. He always loves to cause that drama, and then he has to call the cops.
If my parents die, I don't know what'll happen to my brother. He can't come live with me. I probably would end up killing him.
Let me ask you, what is wrong with these people? Or are you part of this? I mean,
where can I begin?
I don't know.
This has been going on for years. They've always had a love-hate relationship.
Why is he not outraged by his behavior? Why is he not embarrassed at how unbecoming it is that he says the things he says about his own father? He says it like he's ordering lunch. Yes, I said I would step over his body. Yeah.
That's always been his attitude. He has an I don't give a about anybody attitude. My dad he's afraid to be alone.
So when he says he's left and then he asks him to come back, even though he is abused by him, that's true.
That is very true.
Okay, so you do want him around, abuse and all.
I want somebody around. I'm afraid of, I guess you would say I'm afraid, like you said, of falling on the floor and never getting up.
Well, get one of those I've fallen and can't get up bracelets. I mean, you get people to come by and check on you or something, but you got him living in your house and abusing you every day, and that's okay with you?
I've tried to get rid of him, put him out, and the only way, I've asked him to leave. He says, the only way I'm gonna leave, you have to have the cops remove me.
He is praying to find you dead.
Dr. Phil, when they haven't lived together, my dad's blood pressure's under control. He eats right. When my brother's around, my dad's blood pressure's through the roof. He goes off his diet. He at his heaviest, he was 400.
I cook home-cooked meals. I cook chicken. I mean, I cook big entrees. And, my dad...
Well, bully for you.
Right, if he wants to eat them, he can eat them. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's how I feel.
You can get a meal service cheaper than that. Come on. The guy wants you dead.
Hey, he has said to me before, this was
I'm not talking to you.
7 years ago.
I'm talking to him. He wants you dead. He wants you dead. He says you are an ass. Well, you know what? It's your ass. It's your home. What am I missing here?
I just got to learn how to stop having a big heart. And that's the biggest thing right there.
He's wished me dead before. He's wished me dead before. Worse things than what I've said about him, they've said to me.
Let's take a break here. Not everyone you lose is a loss. So what does Mrs. Claus have to say about all this? We're going to ask her when we come back.
There was one time that my dad was sitting out in his car with his head down, and I picked up the phone and I called my mom and I said, I think Dad just had a heart attack. It was like something right here just lifted completely off, and I was like free. I just wanted to dance. I wanted to rip off all my clothes and just dance around the house completely naked. And then my dad lifted his head up, and I said, I was very disappointed that he wasn't dead.
Oh, my God. John and Jimmy's mother, Jim's ex-wife, Lou Ann, is joining us via Polycom. She's the former Mrs. Claus, so to speak, and she says she just wants everybody to get along this year for Christmas. So, Lou Ann, what do you think about this dynamic between John and your ex-husband?
Well, I think it's time that all of them grew up, and Jonathan, I think you should move out. I just want Pete.
Right. Has he ever lived with you?
No.
Why have you never lived with your mother?
My mom likes to collect stuff. It's wall-to-wall stuff.
Oh, it is not done.
Yeah, it is. It's bad.
He says you're a hoarder.
Oh, maybe a little bit.
My God, who are you people?
That's why I moved away.
At 32, you have the ability to live on your own, right?
Right.
Can you work?
Oh, I can work.
What can you do?
I was a chef for many years.
Well, we know you do pork chops.
Right. Pretty good. I'm good at cooking them, not eating them.
Yeah. I said our Twitter people were blowing up the boards here. Marianne Greer says, open the front door, tell John to go get the paper, lock the door, and tell him that's what side he lives on now. Helen Lust, too, says, if my son told me he wished I would die, he would be dead to me. That is insane. We actually put up a poll. Is it time for Jonathan to move out and live on his own? This is a dysfunctional relationship, right? You agree with that?
I very much
This
agree.
is dysfunctional.
It's not good.
The things you are saying, the fact that you don't have the judgment to not say those things is really a reflection on your immaturity. To say those things about your own father just boggles the mind. That is beyond dysfunctional. And the fact that you don't get that, the fact that you're not embarrassed by that, the fact that you don't get how inappropriate that is really bothersome to me. And that needs to be fixed.
There's no filter on my mouth. If it has to come out,
there is no filter on your mouth.
Right.
I agree with that. And I'm bothered that you are role modeling this for your daughter.
That does not. I teach my daughter, she's polite. I don't swear in front of her.
Yeah, unless somebody stamps stupid on my forehead, you can't possibly think I believe that this isn't a toxic environment for your daughter to live in this dysfunctional dynamic. It's not good for her. You need to get out of this situation. You need to pick up and move. Now, if you are saying my health is compromised, I don't want to be alone, I get fearful when I'm alone because of my heart and my blood pressure and that sort of thing, then I totally get that. And there are things that can and need to be done so you don't feel vulnerable, so you don't feel alone. But this kind of dynamic is a major stressor. And that stressor is bad for your heart. It's bad for your hypertension. It is shortening your lifespan. This is not good for you. You too need help. I will get you that help. Will you take it?
Yes, I will.
All right. If I get you some help with this, will you help? Will you take that help? If I get you some professional help to sit down and sort out how this is okay with you to do this, will you take that help?
Yes, I would.
Okay, because that's just my Christmas, my gift to you, Santa. All right. I think my next story is going to teach John and Jim a really good lesson, so I want them to stick around, pay close attention to what we're going to talk about. We'll be right back. My next guest thinks he's here to talk to me about fitness. What he doesn't know is that we found his long-lost son.
I've waited 46 years to meet my father. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm very excited.
Okay, let me tell you, this is one of those times that I need y'all's help because I need to let you in on a little secret of something that's getting ready to happen. My next guest thinks he's here to talk to me about fitness and my new weight loss book called The 20/20 Diet, which is great. What he doesn't know is that he is really here for a very special reunion. Because 46 years ago, Greg's son was placed for adoption. And he didn't have any vote in that. It was just done around him. And he has been looking for him ever since. And he has no idea we're involved in that hunt at all. Well, you guessed it. We found his long-lost son of 46 years. And he's here, and he's waiting backstage right now, and it's going to be a really big surprise, and you're all in on it. So I need you to keep quiet, not spill the beans, but I wanted you to know what's going on. And so I am going to talk to him straight up about this and all as part of the ruse. I mean, and he takes it very seriously. He's a trainer. He's an older guy. He's all muscled up, and he's a trainer. And he spent his whole life without his son. And you two squander the opportunity you've been given. How unfortunate. In the meantime, here's Greg's story, the one he thinks he's here to talk about.
I'm 64, be 65 in May. When I was about 49, 50, and I hit 261 pounds, I was definitely in fear of having a heart attack. At 62, I entered my first bodybuilding show, and I finished second. Last year, November 3rd, I entered the Las Vegas Classic. I won first place in the Master Division over 60 category. I began to become a little better well-known by being a trainer on the Pawn Stars TV show. My whole purpose in life is to be example to the older generation, my generation, that it's never too late to remorph, refigure, change your body around. And I'm excited to delve into the book 20/20 that Dr. Phil has just released. I think it's going to broaden my horizons as a trainer.
You're in pretty good shape.
I try to be.
You do?
Little guy.
Now, you've been on the cover of
Fitness Elite magazine.
Yeah, Fitness Elite magazine. Had an 8-page article in there. So I mean, and I read it. It's pretty impressive. And 15 years ago, Rick from Pawn Stars on the History Channel hired you as a trainer, and you started working with him, got him in shape.
Yep.
You know, in the 20/20 diet, I tell people that you've got to pick a reasonable goal, a reasonable set point. You're not going to weigh what you did in high school. I mean, come on. And even if you do, it's going to be arranged differently. You know, I weigh 5 pounds from what I did when I played football in college, but it's in different places.
Exactly.
Than it was then. I mean, it truly is. But you can do it. You can be the best you can at the age you are, because you're not a spring chicken anymore, right?
No, I'm 64, be 65 in May.
All right. We asked him what one of his holiday wishes might be this year, and his answer kind of surprised us. So we want to share his wish and hope someone out there may have information that could help. Take a look at this.
This Christmas, one of my biggest wishes is that I hope to find my son. When I was in high school, football star, I got the gal pregnant, and I decided the fact that I would marry her and support the child. By that time, I had several scholarship offers to play football at several universities in the nation, and I threw all my scholarships away, and at that point, I decided to become a father. Later in the summer, the child was given away at birth, unbeknownst to me. I was watching a Dr. Phil episode, and they were doing a reunion show like they do so many with Troy Dunn, the locator. I looked at my wife and started crying and said, I haven't lived hard enough. So if my son is out there and he's watching, he'll contact me or at least let me know that he's alive and well. It's important to me that he knows I never abandoned him. I always wanted him. And that would be a tremendous Christmas gift if I could possibly get that.
Well, as soon as I heard Greg's wish, I invited Troy, a good friend of mine, Troy Dunn, to be here so we can all help in Greg's search. Well, so Troy, come on out. What's up, man?
Good to see you, friend.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
It's an honor, sir. Thank you. Very nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you. So I really thought of Troy, would have anyway, but you mentioned him in your piece when you were talking to us, and so we knew he was on your radar, so we wanted to be sure you were on his radar, because Troy's work is putting together over 40,000 families. So have you been able to find out any information on Greg's son, anything at all that would help us out?
You know, it's a process that starts with little baby steps. I'm excited to be able to help you. You know, you're sitting between two men who might be the most grateful fathers in America. Dr. Phil has 2 sons. I have 6 of them, and I value the power of a father-son relationship. So when he asked me if we could push this along, I'm honored to be able to help you do that. Thank you so much. I will say we have so far discovered that your son's name is Wendell.
Wendell. Okay, so Wendell, you do know a name.
I do have a name. And we actually found a photo. It's an old picture, but I at least wanted you to be able to see, you know, how he's progressing through life. So that is your son, Wendell.
It's amazing. I
have to say, he looks like you.
I'm just at a loss because he does look like me, and it just scares the heck out of me.
Yeah. Well, I know school photos are easy to find. That part, I'm not surprised. Did you find anything else out along the way?
You know what? I did find one other thing, and that was I did find your son, Wendell. I spoke to him, and as I spoke to him, he began to discuss how much he wanted to meet you. So he's here.
Oh, no.
So, Greg, let us introduce you to your son, Wendell. Wendell, come on out.
Oh, my God. Everything I thought could be. My father's size. You are one handsome young man. Oh, my God.
This has been a long time.
Yes, it has. 46 years.
46 years.
46 years I've been looking for you. Oh, thank you so much, Troy. Dr. Phil, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough.
Good to meet you. You two have a seat. You two have a seat here. Now, it's so Wendell, it's so good to have you here. Tell me what's going through your mind and your heart right now as you meet your biological father for the first time.
Well, first of all, it's glad to know that somebody was looking for me. I want you to know that I have no feelings of resentment or sense of abandonment or anything like that. On the contrary, I want to actually thank you for making the decision that you did, whether it was your decision or not. But the parents that I got were 2 of the most wonderful people on the planet, and I couldn't have asked for any better parents to raise me. But I guess if there's a question that I have, it'd be, you know, how did it all go down? Were you involved in the process, or?
I was not involved in the process. Your mother came from a wealthy family. We were relatively poor. When she became pregnant, it became obvious that her mother kept her under wraps, sent her to a home of unwed mothers, wouldn't let her walk except at midnight in the neighborhood because she didn't want the neighbors to find out that she had been pregnant. So my father immediately said, this is what you do. This is your right. He threw my scholarships away and said, you began work the day you graduated from high school at Roar Aircraft. And I started working, and I gave up everything because my father stated, he said, there's no such thing as illegitimate children, just illegitimate parents. And that stuck with me my whole life. And then the birth came, and I was told that I would not be allowed at the hospital. I was told my name was going to be on the birth certificate, but that wasn't obviously the case. And then they told us, my parents, that they were giving the child up. And my mother had fought to take custody. This is her first, her son, her grandson, her first grandson. And she wanted that child. She wanted you. And they had more money, they had more power, and they just did it. And I was sick, and I didn't know what to do, and I was lost. So I called the local school, junior college, and asked, I need to do something, I'm going crazy. And I went to play football, but you never, ever left the back of my mind or in my heart. I know that the people that adopted you they were like angels, and they wrapped their rings around you, and I had all the confidence that they would raise you to the fine young man you've become. But I did want you to know that there was things that you may need to know medically that I suffer from that you might need to know about. And also, I just wanted you to know that I love you. My wife loves you. You have two brothers that are looking forward to meeting you.
That's fantastic.
And I'm just elated that this day has come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, one more surprise for Greg. Well, moments ago, my guest Greg met his biological son, Wendell, for the very first time. And I have to admit, to some subterfuge, we did let you come here thinking we were going to talk about fitness and my new book, but that was not at all what we were here to talk about. He says he was prepared to raise his son, but was left out of the decision to place him for adoption. He reached out for help to my good friend Troy Dunn, also known as the Locator. And at this point, it's interesting to see. I always look at nature, nurture, genetics versus environment. Both of you were very accomplished athletes. Your son was very athletic. In fact, he was drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, let's just take a look at Wendell growing up. And we just have put together a series of stills here where you can kind of see him progressing through the years.
I know Greg's struggling a little bit right now looking at these photos and knowing what he's missed. But the reality is that as of today, there's a whole lot of photos that haven't been taken yet, and he can be in each and every one of those.
Yeah. Well, not only did Troy find Greg's son, but unbeknownst to Greg, he also has a granddaughter. And how about that? Would you like to meet your granddaughter?
I'd love to.
All right. Her name is Genesee, and here she is.
You did good. You did good. Hi, my darling. Oh, you're absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you.
Oh, this is so overwhelming to me.
Genesee, I'm Dr. Phil.
Nice
Good to meet you.
Oh,
and,
Genesee.
Hi.
Oh.
So, you have a grandfather you didn't know about.
Yeah, well, I knew about him. I just never knew him.
You just never knew who he was.
Yeah.
So, how's this Christmas going for you so far?
It has just come early, I must say, and I certainly want to thank everybody here for making this happen to me, but I certainly want to thank you for allowing this to happen, both of you. This has made my life complete.
And, you know, you wanted to know what had happened, but, I mean, it's important to the two of you. You want to know about heritage and background and all of that, right? You had questions, too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've always had people ask me, like, are you Mexican? Are you Italian? Or where are you from? And I'm like, I don't really know. But...
half Spanish and half Italian, Sicilian.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Okay. All right, great. So, you know, this, I made the comment before, you didn't get an opportunity to hear any of the show before, but we were talking to Santa down here. This is Jim and his son John, who have kind of had a rough and rocky road. And, you know, here is a father and son that have missed 46 years of sharing all of this time together. I mean, what do you think when you hear this? Are you wasting time?
It's not time wasted. we still have time ahead of us. And I hope we can patch it.
Yeah, I hope so too. I want to keep the good news rolling here. In light of having a happy and healthy holiday, I'm going to send everyone home today because we were talking about fitness and all of that stuff, and we came here, brought you here under the ruse of talking about being healthy and losing weight with the 2020 diet and all of that sort of thing. So for all of you guys playing along, I want to send everybody home today with a brand new Wellograph watch. And Wellograph is a classic wellness watch. It's an elegant health watch with a sapphire crystal display, and it provides you with a complete picture of your health by telling your activity, your pulse, and it will even tell you your fitness age. Because as you were saying, it's not about chronology. It's designed to be worn at work, in the gym, at happy hour, and it's valued at $350, and everybody here is going to go home with one, okay? Since every one of you guys have helped us out here, everybody in the audience is going to go home with your own copy of my new book, The 2020 Diet. Okay? And for those of you at home, listen closely because you can only get my new book, The 2020 Diet, at thebooknook.com, and you can't get it at any bookstores, only at thebooknook.com. And it really would have been worth us talking about, but that will be better for another day. This trumped everything, and I was glad to push that aside. Coming up, one final holiday treat you don't want to miss. We'll be right back. Well, before I leave, I want to introduce one more very special guest. Every one of you will know her. Her name is Jackie Evancho. You probably recognize her as the child prodigy who first appeared at the tender age of 10 on America's Got Talent. Since then, she's gone on to sell millions of records worldwide. She's about to embark on a global tour and has a special that is airing on PBS throughout the month of December. But she says she's just a normal 14-year-old. Yeah. Okay. Everybody, please welcome Jackie Evancho. Come on out. So good to see you again. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
But you say you maintain a normal childhood?
Yes.
So, but you travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much?
Well, I travel a lot, like a week, a month, but I have a lot of time at home, and I have a lot of fun.
Yeah, are you still doing school and all that stuff,
yes.
Phil? Right? Okay, yeah, that's good. Well, I'm not going to talk to you because they don't want to hear me. They want to hear you. Jackie is giving us the pleasure of singing Ave Maria from her latest album, Awakening. The album is available now, and there's even a special edition featuring 6 Christmas songs, and it's available at Walmart. And today, everybody in the audience is going home with a copy. Okay? So, now I'm going to turn this over to you, Jackie. edition featuring 6 Christmas songs available at Walmart. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.